We are grateful to have, and from an international phone line, former BYU basketball great three-point specialist Jonathan Tavernari joining us. Jonathan, this is a subject you're very passionate on. You were kind of in a similar situation. Your senior year, you stayed at BYU. When you first heard about Matt Carlino transferring, what was your initial reaction?
April Fools.
You're right.
I mean, talk about that's a good one, you know. Just listen. I think the reason why this was so passionate for me is because, you know, ever since the beginning, never mind that he left Indiana. I mean, that's 100%. You know, that's his right. 100% right after UCLA. I mean, those are two situations that, you know, he's in a bad deal. You know, he's in a bad situation. But what I don't understand is what is the situation now? You know, like, and you talk about being important to the program. You know what I mean? Like, and I know everybody loves to compare him to me. You know, we're both gunners. You know, we both shoot until we don't feel like shooting anymore. And unfortunately, that's how we got our rhythm. You know, sometimes, most of the times that work well for us. You know, sometimes, you know, we can take our team out of the rhythm. But, you know, if that wasn't what we went to BYU to do, you know, Coach Rose, who's one of the best in the business, wouldn't have brought us there. You know, and I got a lot of people saying, oh, you know, that's his opinion, that's his personal decision. Listen, if you go back to my Twitter account and everything I said publicly, I back up the kid 100% from day one. Everybody's saying, you know, he needs to be benched, you know, he's a loose gunner, you know, he's the new Tavernari and all of that. But guess what? When he makes shots and, you know, he made a bunch of them against Texas and against these other teams, nobody said anything. So when he's the hero, he's the hero. You know, it's kind of like they say, you know, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. You know what I mean? And my whole thing is like, listen, I asked to compliance if I could talk to his dad about helping him getting his Italian passport. Did everything by the book so the kid wouldn't be involved and would have no legal issues in NCAA. And, you know, I talked to Maddie's dad, you know, got all the information. And I don't understand is why leave BYU? You know, I mean, I know Kev said that, you know, he can go to a high major program and be the man, but let's be realistic. If you want to leave someplace, you got to go up. You got to move up higher, you know. And where can he go that he's going to be the man? Is he going to go to UConn, Syracuse, Duke? I mean, if you want to talk about going to a better program, I mean, that's what we got to talk about. Is he going to go to a Big East program and start there? Is he going to go compete for a national championship with Tom Izzo and those guys? You know, and yes, you know, KC and Ty, you know, they're very consistent and all of that, but you know, it's all about embracing your role. I mean, you talk about my senior year. You know, I was picked up as the preseason player of the year by some people. You know, playing for the national team. You know, I have all these offers from contracts in Europe, and I came back. And then I started the year. You know, I have a lot of bad games, and I came in and Coach Rose. I'm like, look, listen, Jimmer is about to break out. Jax is doing fantastic. You know, like, put Noah in. Let me come off the bench. You know, I don't have a problem taking a back seat right now. Because at the end of the day, when you're a winner, everybody remembers you. You know, everybody talks about as a loose gunner and this and that, but when you step to the Marriott Center, you're going to see the 3 banners that I helped put in there. You're going to see that my teams were in the top 25 4 years. And I was a part of that. And those are the things that when I was texting last night, I was tweeting last night, and somebody said something, and I was like, look, listen, I'm not going to argue anymore. You know, because the point is, college experience is more about than professionals in sports. It's way past that. You know, the experience at BYU, feeling the spirit, the environment, the standards, the friendships you make, it's way beyond that. So, you know, that's what it ticked me off. You know, that was pretty much it.
Jonathan Tavernari is live from Sao Paulo, Brazil on BYU Sports Nation. A lot of what I'm hearing from you is passion because Matt Carlino is a good player. Not the decision is disappointing because of how you feel about Matt Carlino's skills. Is that accurate?
Good player. I mean, good grief. He's a great player. How many lefties do you know that cannot shoot? Not many. Lefties, I make lefties to shoot basketball. I mean, let's be realistic. You know, think about all-time greats, the lefties. There's not a whole lot that can't shoot. You know, maybe my boy Trent is probably the only one that can't shoot beyond 20 feet. But let's be realistic.
Chris Mullen.
He couldn't shoot, but the dude could play. but he's a stud. And Matt's a good player. That's the thing I don't understand. Everybody says, oh, JT fell from grace after his junior year. Well, guess what? I was the sixth man. Pretty much everybody in the country gave me a Sixth Man of the Year award.
Yeah, you were the conference Sixth Man of the Year.
Exactly. We came about a rebound away from being 4 times back-to-back conference champions. We ranked in the top 10. We are consistently a top 15 team. We beat quality teams all the time. Everybody succeed out of it. And everybody says, well, but what is going to happen afterwards? Well, guess what? I've been playing professional for 4 years ever since. And you know what I mean? And so that's what I don't understand. My point is, look, I love the kid. Everybody compares him to me, and I love that. Shoot. If you go back, George, look, I keep saying, hey, shoot. Somebody asked me, what are the chances we win in the NCAA tournament? I said, if Matty just goes off and scores a bunch of points. And that was true. When he started making shots in the second half, that's when the game got close. And so it's just, like I said, forget about basketball. There's so much more about BYU. There's so much more that those, who they may not agree with me, but those who go to BYU, they have to agree with me that BYU is a special school. It's a special place. You know what I mean? And basketball-wise, unless he's going to Duke or, Kev said a high major, unless he's going to a big-time program like Michigan State or something like that, then what was the point of transferring? I look at Mike Lloyd. He was my roommate. My Lamont and Archie. Look what happened to Mikey. He went to a Division II. NAIA.
Midwestern State or something like that.
Was that worth it? You know what I mean? Love the kid. Every time I'm back in America, he's one of my first phone calls. But was that worth it? And that's when I start saying, how much do you want to really keep digging to try to find a treasure? How much is it? How much do you really? And if this is his decision, I respect the heck out of his decision. I just think that basketball-wise, it just wasn't smart. And trust me, I know the kid. And like I said, I was helping him. The year after this, when he was about to be a pro, I was working with his dad. Chad Williams. Hey, he's listening. Everything I do, I ask him first. I do everything by the book. Tom Holmoe taught me that. So, that's what you got to do. And I was helping the kid get an Italian passport, go pro, pretty much enjoy the sport just like I'm enjoying right now.
When was this, JT? When were you helping Matt Carlino with Italian passport and stuff like that?
I wasn't helping him. I was talking to his dad. If
his dad.
Him, that would be an NCAA violation.
Gotcha. By the books.
So it was the beginning of the season. Always by the book. You know what I mean? And so for him to do something like this, it's kind of like, I honestly, and don't take this wrong way, it's a slap in the face to the BYU community, Coach Rose. And look, Coach Rose is politically correct. And I was probably by far the most, you talk about polarizing player BYU ever had, that's probably me. Because I speak my mouth, unfortunately. But, that's a slap in the face of Coach Rose. Coach Rose took in the kid. He redshirted, waited for the kid to get ready, gave the car keys to the kid. And now he's returning the car keys? Come on. Not all of us are gymmers. Not all of us are tight. Those guys need help. And I was more than willing to let Jimmer run the show my senior year because it was for the good of the team. Every time I'm around campus, everybody knows who I am. George, you know this. I see you on campus all the time on Sundays. Everybody stops and comes and talks to me because it goes beyond the basketball court. Friends, community, service, helping, do things the BYU way. You know what I mean? And that's where I got ticked off. He had everything. Had an amazing senior year. Could really even be the Sixth Man of the Year in the country. Jay Billups gave it to me. Why not give it to him? His numbers were way better than mine. So I just don't understand this whole thing. That's all.
Jonathan Tavernari, a very passionate response to Matt Carlino's transfer, joining us on BYU Sports Nation. He played for the Cougars from 2006 to 2010, was the Sixth Man of the Year in the Mountain West Conference his senior year, so a guy that understands that role very well. Jonathan, very quickly before we have to say goodbye to you, update us on what you're doing right now and what's happening in Brazil. I understand you're pursuing a professional career and doing very well with the professional basketball scene down there in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, the World Cup is coming over here this year.
Yeah.
And we definitely have the Olympics in 2016. we know that the boys in the green and yellow are the best in the business. So Brazil right now is, it's booming, economically, financially, things are way more stable here than in Italy. I'm get a chance to live right by where I grew up. I'm playing for the club I grew up. We actually are sponsored by DirecTV.
Which club is that, Jonathan?
I'm playing for one of the best. It's called Pinheiros Sky. It's right downtown São Paulo. Yeah, Pinheiros. And, I'm living by my parents. My wife is loving Brazil. And, my son is speaking Portuguese. You probably can hear him in the background. But, and listen, and throughout my career, I've had some ups and downs, like ever since I graduated. And, I'm actually going through a shooting slump right now. But what do? You don't demand things. And that's what I said. You don't quit. You just keep shooting. You get yourself in the gym early in the morning and you shoot your way out of a slump. You get on a treadmill and you run and you get in shape and you shoot your way out of your slump.
Absolutely.
You man it up. You know what I mean? That's what you do.
That's the way to success.
JT, we've got to shoot ourselves out of this segment right now. But we appreciate the time. Great insight. We'd love to have you on again from Sao Paulo, and good luck with Hafa.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll tell them you guys said hello.
You got it. Thanks so much, Jonathan
Thanks, JT.
Tavernari on BYU Sports Nation.